Hello, legends, and welcome to Blunt Force Healing Podcast, episode number 227. This means that this podcast and underpinning it blog exist for 227 days exactly. So, for those of you that are new listeners or new readers, new watchers, this project started from my huge desire to become a person of a more structured approach to certain things in life than a long time procrastination that I was practicing. So some of you might feel the same or be in a similar place where their life is more or less an ordered chaos and it's more reactive than proactive. And this is exactly my life, how it would be, how it was for the last 4 decades. So I know procrastination too well. And I attempted multiple times in my life to build certain habits or routines into my life, and they went for some time, but I was never able to fully maintain any good habit or routine for longer than, I would say, 30 or 40 days. The only exception is my learning of Spanish language that I started doing with Duolingo app quite a long time ago. It's actually, I think, 698-day streak, which is quite amazing, to be honest, from my perspective. But again, it doesn't require that much effort. It's just ensuring that I do at least one lesson every day. Obviously, I don't do just one lesson every day. Sometimes it is one lesson. Sometimes I spend much more time, like 5-10 minutes, up to half an hour to even 1 hour on certain days. So this is the only exception. Other than that, my attempts at building routines were usually quite patchy at best. And I always wanted to write a blog. I even attempted it twice in the past, long time ago. But on September 19, 2022, I decided to go for it and just start with short posts. Nothing special, just journaling every day of my life with a simple couple of sentences for a starter, to make it easy, to remove the friction in building habits and see how it goes. And the best part was that I started that on WordPress.com, and it was actually WordPress that suggested me via automation to turn my episode or my blog post into audio episode of a podcast on, at the time, it was Anchor platform, that is now Spotify for podcasters. So the integration was so smooth that I quickly opened the account and recorded my first episode. It allows you to use the auto conversion, the text into audio, but obviously I didn't want that mechanic kind of robotic conversion to be in place. I decided to just read the post with my own voice, which for some people might be annoying, for some people not. But I decided that this blog started for authentic reasons and genuine reasons, and I wanted to be authentic and genuine all the way around, so the podcast needs to be the same. And it started with me just writing short blog posts every day and then recording it in audio version as an episode of the podcast. And that went for 199 days. The day 200 was a special milestone because I wanted to make big changes to the podcast and then the blog itself. And I had a chat with my friend that was listening to my episodes from time to time and reading the blog. And he shared feedback with me that was very much aligned with what I was thinking, but I needed to hear that from a third person perspective. And he said it feels like the blog is genuine and it's nice to read it, but then the audio version, because I read it almost robotically anyway, because I just read it word by word, it doesn't feel authentic or as genuine as the post is when you read it. So he suggested that I might consider different format of the podcast for test and see how it goes. And that was exactly what I wanted to do, to discuss freely every post that I write on the blog. So day 200 and episode 200 until now is exactly that. That means that the episodes are much longer than they were when I was reading the blog post. And also I need to keep within the constraints of Spotify, which allows only 30 minutes. So that's a good training, but also freed up my time. Well, maybe not the time, but the ability to express myself a little bit more. And for those of you who listen and read the blog post, I didn't mention that in any of those and didn't give you any heads up, but I'm currently looking into my phone and recording a video episode together with the audio. So I'm not sure how it will go because I think microphone on the phone is a little bit covered because it's just sitting on my laptop and it might not be perfect position, but we'll see how it goes. If it works good enough so I can be heard properly and what I say is clear enough to be heard, I will post it on Blunt Force Healing YouTube channel. Those of you who don't know, the YouTube channel is also there. So you can find me on YouTube and on Instagram as well. All the social links are in each and every post that I do on the blog. And it started a good couple of episodes back. I think it's about 20 episodes earlier that I started doing that. I built this template in the blog post. So every time I create a new post every day, it has those links in it. So you can easily connect with me on any socials and provide feedback if you want to. So that's about a very long introduction, but I want to do that every now and then to make sure that new listeners and readers actually know what the underpinning idea for that project was. So this is daily journaling that is maintaining a long core habit or routine that I wanted to build. And so far I'm successful for 227 days, including this one. Today's blog is titled, today's blog post. As you can see, I'm not cutting this, so it might be irritating for some, but I'm not editing the episode at all. It's as genuine as it can be, which unfortunately or fortunately includes also any mistakes or bloopers that I do. So today's blog post that underpins this episode of the podcast is titled 100K in May. I'll give you a little bit of background to it. So I like challenges, especially challenges that involve doing something like runs, walks, etc. And one of those challenges I signed up for recently is 100k in May for Laura Lynn's Ireland's Children's Hospice. I have a fundraiser. It is linked in the blog post. If you want to chip in, I'd love to have you there. There's no pressure there. If you don't want to, or you can't afford any coin to chip in, that's fine. We are fundraising as much as we can, but as I said, there's nothing mandatory, or there's nothing against not chipping in. So yeah, the link is in the post. If you want, that's fine. I'm not the best fundraiser, to be honest. I usually collect very little, so at least I want to do that challenge, and by doing that challenge I am also raising a bit of visibility for that charity organization, and that's the main thing. If somebody doesn't support me directly via fundraiser and towards the hospice, then at least they know that the hospice exists and that foundation is there. So maybe the next year or the same year they will chip in with some money to support the efforts of that foundation through other means or other people's fundraiser. So it's always a win for the hospice, and hospice is always a sad story for all the people regardless of age, but children especially so. While I'm not a person that participates in many fundraisers, this one is something that is close to my heart, because I think that children have not enough attention and support that they need. And I don't only mean the ones that are in the hospice or any places where they need support because of the sickness or something else. In general, I think the young generation has not enough support from parents, and there's always a lot of excuses from adults. They don't have time, there's too much on their heads, and I understand it because sometimes I have the same excuses in my head, but I tend to tackle them head on and never really allow anything to be more important than my son. And every time he asks me something, then I will stop doing whatever I am doing and I'll speak to him, because I want to maintain that relationship with my son to the best I can. And also, every minute spent with my son is something special that I won't be ever getting back in my life. So every minute counts, and neither work nor anything in my life should be more important than that particular relationship that I have with my son. And that's something that I remind myself every time I do have that feeling that I want to wave him away or do something else because I feel like it's more important. So that's about it. I do 100k. The challenge is to do 100 kilometers or more for the sake of that challenge and to raise that money and visibility of that Children's Hospice Foundation. So in May, we have 31 days to complete 100k at least, be it walking or running or even cycling if we want. There's no strict requirements. The important thing is to just do it for fun and for a good cause. 1st of May, we did a little bit of hike as a family, so that was over 6 kilometers. Yesterday, I failed a little because I didn't go even for a small walk, so I need to go for a walk today to add up to the pool of those kilometers to make sure that I hit that 100k goal. And the funny thing is that I participate annually with another fundraiser, this time for breast cancer, and it's in June, and it's also 100k in 30 days in June. So I guess I will be doing 2 months of 100k, and this is fun, and this is great feeling to be part of the community and do something good for children, be it raising money or that awareness that such foundations exist and those people on the other side require help and support. So that's basically what 100k in May means. Today was a quite, I would say, work-focused day, though we were able to complete a short walk with my wife. So it's not entirely true that I didn't move today. Yesterday was totally dull and I didn't get out, but today we had a beach walk, which also counts towards a challenge. Before I wrap up, I want to make sure that I also mention a couple of other things or a couple of other pursuits and maybe a value that I will be adding over time to listeners and readers. One of those started as well some time ago, more than a month, I believe, almost 2 months soon. So I started building a YouTube channel for blunt force healing, as I mentioned before, but I also started using a strategy to grow it organically. And my strategy is using shorts, and they are very short shorts, because as some of you probably know, YouTube allows to do or considers a short video to be under 60 seconds. But what I do as a part of that growth strategy is shorts of about 8 to 15 seconds long. So they are about quarter of the allowed length of the short. There is reasoning behind it. I will probably write about it tomorrow. I wrote a couple of arguments behind it in the post when I started that strategy, but just to let you know, I started that on 21st of March. We are now May 3rd, so if you consider 30 days of April, 10 days of March, we have 43 days, actually 42 because I don't count today yet, but for 42 days I was posting at least 1 to 3 short videos. They are fairly simple. My strategy involves putting nice quotes and a lot of original footage from my walks and hikes. And so far, it's 43 days or 42 days, and my channel from 0 is at about 113 subscribers and almost 60,000 views. So you can see that it's quite powerful. if you count 113 subscribers and divide it roughly by 42, then I think it's a decent growth, because it's just below three subscribers per day. Well, obviously not completely, it's probably 2.6 or 2.7 subscribers per day, but imagine achieving that with the standard kind of videos. It's impossible. Obviously, if you have the very entertaining content, then it might be possible, because entertainment channels are definitely faster growing. So if you're into pranks, funny videos, soccer or sports in general, especially popular sports, and music or other stuff that it's based on entertainment, then I'm sure you can grow it much, much faster. But I am growing a channel that is based on this journal and podcast, as well as on those simple shorts with quotes. So it's not super engaging content. Even then, 113 subscribers is something that I'm proud of, albeit it wasn't sweet and nice all the time. There were times where there was really zero growth for 2 or 3 days, which always raises doubts in my head, and I was on the verge of quitting, but I prevailed and it paid back. Alright guys, this is 22 minutes almost in, and I'd like to publish this episode. If you like it, then maybe just like it. If you want, subscribe it to the channel, and I hope to see you tomorrow, be it on the blog reading my content or on the podcast listening to that content. The video content is not daily. This is the first vertical video update that I did, but it's also a 5th longer update on video side or vlog side on YouTube, so you can check that up as well. In previous videos I also featured my son, who has a separate channel, and if you subscribe to his channel, then he will be in heaven to have new subscribers. He's more into gaming, soccer, and other stuff, also funny stuff. So you can check his channel. It's Cross on the Gamer, and you don't need to remember that. If you find Blunt Force Healing on YouTube, he is tagged in those videos, so you can easily click through and find his channel and subscribe to it if you want to. All right, I'm wrapping up now. Thank you very much for listening and coming here. Your time is precious, and you spending it on listening to me makes me proud and really kind of special. So I thank you for spending that time with me, and hope to see you, listen to you maybe someday, or get messages from you in a text form anywhere on my channels. Feel free to provide any feedback or contact me, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. Once again, thank you very much for coming, and stay tuned for the next episode.